What's going on, everybody? Liam O'Reilly, Vermont economic realtor with Jerry Riley Real Estate. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to be talking about the idea of price controls in the overall housing market. Now, the U.S. housing market doesn't have any price controls, so if you want to buy a property and you want to pay more than the next person, you are free to do so. And there, I think is a good system. At the end of the day, us as a society have agreed that this is the system that we want to live in. But there's some controversy with it, or at least some pains with it, because if we look at a market like we're in right now, where prices remain high and affordability is low because of these high interest rates, a lot of people who are on the lower end of the income spectrum, or aren't as well off, have a tough time buying properties, and it's not very affordable right now for many Americans to purchase properties, which leaves a lot of the homes being sold are being sold to those who can't afford it, who have the ability to afford it. So I just wanted to talk about a system, a housing market that does have price controls and does have restrictions on how high prices can go and how low prices can go, and that's the Chinese new development market. Now, I have two articles that we're going to go over. I'm not going to go over them too much in detail, but I'm going to leave them in the description, and I encourage you to take a look at them because they're really interesting stories. One of the articles is from a year ago. We're going to get into that first, and then the other article is from recently, within the past month or so. And the article from a year ago, we're just going to get right into it. So this is talking about the Chinese housing market a year ago, right? Want to buy a home in a big Chinese city? Try winning the lottery first. So this is looking at the top end of the overall income spectrum, or the housing market, right? So this is the top end of the price limit. So prices can only go so high on these new development properties. So it's not like if there's a ton of demand for properties like here in the US, developers can raise their prices and they're not forced to sell them lower than what a buyer will pay for, right? You often hear that home prices or homes in America are sold at the margin. That means that they're sold for as much as the highest buyer is willing to pay for it, essentially. And we saw that in COVID with the bidding wars. So when there was competition on housing, what people were doing is they were bidding up the price. But here with the Chinese new development market, it's not a bidding war. There's so many people that want to purchase a property, and so many people could afford to purchase the property that they are doing a lottery system, or they were doing a lottery system. So they talk a little bit about how this lottery system works in this video, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but basically the summary of it is that people were, if you were entered into a lottery with everybody else who wanted to purchase the property, and they ranked you by how much you needed the property, based on your income, based on your living situation, based on a variety of factors. And after they ranked you, the lowest ranked people, right, the people who needed this apartment the least, needed this condo the least, would just be tossed out of the pool. And then the remaining buyers or potential buyers would be tossed into a lottery system, and they would then they would choose somebody at random, and that would be the person who got the unit. So they would take a group of all the people who wanted to buy the unit, all the people that needed it the most in their eyes, and only one of them got it. So that is really the system that they used in their new development market, which kept prices from going up too high, but also it's more of a game of chance as opposed to a game of wealth, I guess, as it is in America. And so that was the system that people were living in a year ago, with prices capped on the top end in China. Now, if we go to the other article, China has also, or at least many cities in China, have also capped prices from falling. So what China's worried about in general, at least what I gather from this article, is that they're worried about home prices falling drastically. And if they limit the bottom that these new construction homes can sell for, then what they avoid is developers undercutting existing home sellers, and in turn that keeps their home prices high, or at least keeps the comparable sales high. But now things have flipped in the Chinese economy, so it's no longer so many people can afford these homes and there's tons of people waiting and getting their names in a lottery to purchase these units. Now they are experiencing the opposite problem where there's big developers. It says right here, a broader retreat from floor prices could help developers clear inventory of unsold properties and raise revenue to pay down their sizable debts. So developers can't move these properties because people can't afford to buy them. But they're forced to keep their properties high to avoid their real estate market crashing, to avoid homeowners losing too much equity in their homes. But in turn, these developers are stuck with their debts. Their debts don't go away. So you kind of have this double-edged sword here. And there's another thing that I wanted to highlight in this article here. So right here, risk of the system. It's hard to know how much prices would drop if the floors were removed widely. So people think that home prices could drop by 30 or 50% in China, in these cities, which would cause, if they drop by half, they drop by 50%, then 51% of mortgages would be underwater. They would have negative equity in their home, which would be trouble for all these homeowners out there. So really what's happened with this system that China's created is they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, where do they want to keep these price controls in place and prevent developers from dropping their properties and cause them to default on their debts, not allow them to bring new development to the market and cause their investors to lose money and to lose their shoes? Or do they want to allow, more of a free market system, allow prices to fall and more people to buy properties, these developers to pay off their debts, but then the individual homeowners across most of China, their property values are going to fall as well, which is going to, cause those individuals to lose their wealth and to lose, to really hurt their economy. So that is kind of what's going on with this price-controlled system. And now I don't think a lot of viewers on this channel really argue or really want a price-controlled system, but it's an interesting system to look at and to consider and compare to where our system is now with affordability being so low because prices are so high. And the reason why prices are so high across the country, of course, they've come down in some markets, but generally speaking, throughout the broader United States, home prices have not come down significantly, even though interest rates are way up high. And the reason why they haven't come down significantly is because there's not many sellers, so there's not many homes on the market for people to buy, which is keeping prices up. And the homes that are out there are still enough buyers who can afford those properties. So there isn't, if home prices came down and instead of having bidding wars, we had a lottery system, then that would prevent home prices from going up. And what's going on, obviously in the U.S. housing market is there's just people. There's not this leveling playing field for affordability. So if we had something similar to China and we allowed home prices to come down and we said, you want to buy this home? Well, there's 20 other people that want to buy this home. How is the seller going to choose if they can't increase their price? So that is what we use in the U.S. to differentiate, to allow sellers to discriminate, right? Because they're discriminating based on price. We have a lot of fair housing laws. They can't discriminate based on race or sex or familial status, but they can discriminate based on price, and we've deemed that as fair. So anyway, I hope you guys got something out of this video. Not really advice in here, but just exploring some different topics. All my contact information is in the description. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, reach out to me directly. Otherwise, leave me a comment. I love knowing what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.